Thank you, Sue, for the introduction. So today I'm going to talk about the Carnipure L-Carnitine from Lonza, the brand ingredient, give you an overview around the science and the clinical trials that have been generated to support the benefit and the claims around the Carnipure, describe a little bit the mechanism of action, and end up by presenting our Lonza's values proposition. The Carnipure L-Carnitine from Lonza and the carnitine tartrate in particular is clinically tested. It is mainly used for fitness support, and that's by providing muscle comfort after exercise. Its main cellular mechanism is really to produce energy at the cellular level, and that's by transporting fatty acids into the mitochondria in order to make ATP as a form of energy. It is a vegetarian sourced ingredient, so there is no animal products included in the Lonza Carnipure, and it is also delivered using a first-generation vegetarian capsules, which are important for the health-conscious consumers, and it is a non-GMO. Who is using the Carnipure? Over the several last decades, the traditional users of our Carnipure are athletes. And the reason for that is because this segment of the population are loyal, they are well informed and dedicated, so they act as ambassadors for the brain, they buy frequently, and they are driven by the performance and the results. Other users of the Carnipure are the proactive users. Among these are the millennials, who are the mainstream buyers and very conscious about their healthy lifestyle. Baby boomers are flocking in the category, people who care about the clean and green labels, and people who care overall about the performance, the body image, the health, the weight management, and one of the main applications of the Carnipure is around weight management, and more recently, older people, elderly. And we are going to talk a little bit more in detail about this category. So why people buy the Carnipure brand? Well, as I said, it's evidence-based ingredient. It's backed by a long decades of science and clinical trials proving the benefits and supporting the claims. Its main function is an energy production ingredient, so it helps producing energy and acts as an ergogenic aid, especially during the exercise and the recovery after the exercise. And it is a very safe ingredient, fully traceable. It enjoys several certifications such as kosher and halal. It has a self-affirmed GRAS status in the US. As a matter of fact, Carnipure has the full package of the toxicology studies, going from the subchronic to the chronic studies, both in rodents and in dogs. Today, I'm going to talk about a few of the clinical trials that have been generated on the Carnipure brand. This is just a small representation of the trials. There are so many, there's over 45 different clinical trials that have been generated on the effect of the Carnipure, particularly during the exercise recovery. One of the first one was published in 2002 by Volek and his group. This trial was confirmed later on by Spearing in 2007, where 2 doses of Carnipure has been used to show these effects. Later on in 2010, Ho published a study showing the benefit of Carnipure supplementation in the exercise recovery in older populations. So these are people 40 years and older. And I'll talk also about one of the main studies by Volek also in 2008, showing one of the mechanisms by which Carnipure can help in the exercise recovery. It's the blood flow study. I'll be also describing our latest publication, which is a review article published in 2018. This is a comprehensive review on all of the science that has been generated on the Carnipure over the 3 decades or so. And it is a collaboration with Dr. Fielding's from Tufts University. As you might know, Dr. Fielding is one of the world leaders in the area of muscle physiology. This publication is from Volek Group in 2002. So this is a randomized placebo-controlled trial. It's a crossover design where 10 people entered the study. The average of the population is 23 years old. And these are athletes, and the exercise performed in these studies are squats. The subjects had been randomized in 2 different groups. One group is a placebo group, and the other one received Carnipure tartrate at 3 grams per day. So the Carnipure tartrate delivered 2 grams of Carnipure, elemental Carnipure. The duration of the supplementation was 3 weeks with a 3-week washout period, since this is a crossover design. And this was followed by 6 days of recovery period. The time points were assessed before the squat, pre-squat at day 1 and day 2, at baseline, time 0, 15 and 120 minutes post-squat, and during the recovery period at day 3, day 4, day 5, and day 6. Are assessed markers of catabolism of purine. Purines, adenine and guanine, can be degraded as a result of muscle injury and after exercise to lead to the formation of xanthine and hypoxanthine. In addition, markers of muscle injury are myoglobin and creatine kinase. These proteins are normally not found in the blood or found at a very low level, but as a result of the injury and cellular leakage, these 2 markers can increase as a result of the exercise. The results are summarized in the right side of the slide. You can see that pre-squat at day 1 and day 2, there is no difference in the serum myoglobin level between groups. However, post-exercise, there is a significant increase in the myoglobin and also the creatine kinase in the placebo group, represented here in dotted line. And when people are supplemented with Carnipure tartrate, there is a significant reduction in the level of myoglobin and creatine kinase. So the Carnipure supplementation significantly lowered the creatine kinase and the myoglobin post-exercise, and this decrease was sustained during the recovery period up to day 6. In addition, the muscle soreness, the perception of the muscle soreness was also improved during the recovery period. These results have been confirmed by a subsequent trial published in 2007 by Spearing. Very similar design, randomized placebo-controlled trial. The type of the exercise is also squat. And in this study, there are 3 groups that used either placebo or 3 grams of Carnipure tartrate, meaning 2 grams of elemental carnitine, 1.5 gram per day of Carnipure tartrate, leading to 1 gram of L-Carnitine, elemental carnitine, and 8 subjects, 8 males with an average age of 22 years have been randomized in this trial. This is a crossover design. So there was 3 weeks of supplementation period, separated by 3 weeks of washout period, and 6 days of recovery period. The time points measured here are a pre-squat at baseline, at time 5, 10, 15, and 30 minutes post-squat, and the perceived muscle soreness was assessed at day 1, day 2, and day 3, also post-squat. Are represented here the reduction of markers of exercise stress, exercise-induced stress, and perceived muscle soreness. You can see that the level of hypoxanthine increased significantly as a result of the exercise and muscle injury. And both doses of Carnipure, 3 and 1.5 gram per day, mitigated and decreased significantly the level of hypoxanthine in the plasma level, reflecting an improvement in the oxidative stress. So both doses significantly lowered the post-exercise hypoxia related to the muscle damage. In addition, and by using imaging, both doses also reduced the post-exercise muscle damage and also the perceived muscle soreness post-exercise. So how does this work? In 2008, Volek published a study suggesting that one of the mechanisms involved in the recovery after exercise goes through an improvement in the blood flow. This is the blood flow study. It is also a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, and it is a crossover design. The supplementation period lasted for 3 weeks, with 3 to 5 weeks of washout period. And the study included 30 subjects with an age of 30 years and older. And these subjects had been randomized to 2 groups, one placebo group and one supplemental group that received 3 grams of Carnipure tartrate. The primary endpoint here assessed the flow-mediated dilation, the FMD, which is a well-validated method to assess the vasodilation of the muscles. The measurement took place at the brachial artery, and the flow-mediated dilation was in a response to 5 minutes of upper arm occlusion, both at fasting and after a high-fat meal challenge. It has been reported that the high-fat meal challenge can induce postprandial decrease in the blood flow, basically. So the results are represented in the right side of the slide. This is the summary of the finding. So what we saw that the fasting peak of the flow-mediated dilation at 1.5 hours was not changed between groups. However, when the individuals are challenged with high-fat meal, there is a significant increase in the peak of flow-mediated dilation with the Carnipure supplementation, 7.7% increase, and a significant decrease in the vasodilation as assessed by FMD in the placebo group, 5.8% decrease. And the difference between the 2 groups is significant. So the Carnipure supplementation increased the blood flow, and that possibly can result to an increase in the exchange of nutrient and oxygen, allowing a mitigation of the effect of the muscle injury as a result of the exercise. In 2010, Ho published another study, this time not among athletes, but these are older people. The average age is 48 years old. And basically, he showed similar effects in the reduction of markers of exercise stress and perceived muscle soreness. The study included 18 subjects that have been randomized in 2 groups, one placebo group and one Carnipure supplementation group. The Carnipure dose is 3 grams of Carnipure tartrate. That means 2 grams of elemental L-Carnitine. And the primary endpoint was a reduction in markers of oxidative stress, in this case, creatine kinase. Also was assessed the perceived muscle soreness during the recovery phase. The time points assessed here are pre-exercise at day 0, time 15, 30, and 120 minutes post-squat, and also during the recovery period was assessed the perceived muscle soreness at day 1, day 2, and day 4 post-squat. The supplementation lasted 3 weeks with a washout period. This is a crossover design. And the recovery period lasted 3 days in this case, day 1, day 2, and day 4, sorry. The results are represented in the right side of the slide. You can see that the exercise itself increased the level of creatine kinase in the plasma. And this increase is mitigated when the people are supplemented with L-Carnitine or Carnipure. The results have been stratified here among men and women. both gender can benefit from the Carnipure supplementation, so there is a significant decrease in creatine kinase in the plasma in both cases. However, the men seem to benefit more from the Carnipure supplementation than the female. These effects lasted also during the recovery period, up to day 2 for men and up to day 1 for women. So Carnipure supplementation reduced post-exercise recovery as assessed by creatine kinase, but also as assessed by other markers of perimetabolism, which are not represented here, such as xanthine, hypoxanthine, free radical formation, and also muscle disruption as assessed by imaging. In addition, during the recovery period, the Carnipure supplementation allowed a faster recovery and decreased muscle soreness as perceived by these subjects. Now I'm going to wrap up talking about our latest publication. This is a review paper, a comprehensive review paper where Lonza actually was invited to contribute to a special issue on the role of proteins on the post-exercise recovery. This has been published in Nutrient last March, and the review summarized the state of the science around the carnitine and its role in general. So that includes both Lonza Carnipure and other sources of L-Carnitine as well. It included both Lonza-sponsored trials and also third-party trials. And again, it was done in collaboration with Tufts University and Dr. Fieldings. So we started the review by giving a little history around the L-Carnitine role as ergogenic aid during exercise, first at the endurance level, and then as it's used in the recovery after exercise among athletes, mainly, describing some of the mechanisms involved in this recovery phase, such as reduction in muscle soreness and injury, as we discussed, reduction in the oxidative stress, and an increase in the blood flow. And the review ends up shedding the light on new use of Carnipure in older subjects. So these are subjects 55, 65 years and older. More and more old people are engaged in moderate exercise and might be in need for ergogenic aid such as the Carnipure. And we and others showed that the Carnipure by itself or in combination with other amino acids can actually maintain muscle mass and function in a condition called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is a condition that comes with aging. Everybody experiences sarcopenia. And very recent research showed that the Carnipure can actually mitigate the effect of the sarcopenia and muscle degradation that comes with aging. This comprehensive review included about 96 different studies. So just to summarize our discussion, the Carnipure supplementation helps with the recovery in response to physical activity, and that's by reducing markers of metabolic stress, by maintaining the muscle structure and integrity, by releasing the stress and the muscle soreness, maintaining the muscle comfort, increasing the blood flow, and that's probably one of the main mechanisms by which the Carnipure can contribute to this recovery period. And because it's mainly an energy molecule and increases the energy, that's its basic mechanism, it can improve the recovery time and allow your customer to back quicker and faster back on the track. So this is just a cartoon to show you the basic molecular mechanism of action of the L-Carnitine. What it does, basically it transports long-chain fatty acids in the mitochondria. So in the cytosol, the fatty acids are bound to the coenzyme A, and when they are transferred to the L-Carnitine, they can be transported through the outer and the inner membrane of the mitochondrium. And once in the mitochondrial matrix, the fatty acids represented here in these small white pearls are released again to the coenzyme A. the carnitine, the free carnitine, exit the matrix to take another round of fatty acid transports. And the fatty acids are then engaged in a process called beta oxidation, which is basically a degradation of the long chain fatty acids into a smaller molecules, 2-carbon molecule substrate, which is a substrate for the Krebs cycle. It's a respiratory chain that leads eventually to the formation of energy under the form of ATP, the adenosine triphosphate. And this basic mechanism of action has been shown by Müller in 2002 in a clinical study. So what Müller did here, he took 10 healthy subjects. These are untrained subjects. The average age is 22 to 37 years old. They have normal BMI, so the BMI is between 20 and 24 kilograms per meter square. And these subjects have been supplemented with L-Carnitine at 3 grams per day for a period of 10 days. And the way Müller assessed and proved the mechanism of action in this clinical study, he provided also the subjects with C13 palmitic acid. So the palmitic acid is a long chain fatty acid, a substrate for the L-Carnitine, and it is also labeled by C13, make it easier to trace. So once the palmitic acid goes through the beta oxidation in the cells, it releases a smaller molecule such as the carbon dioxide. And what Müller did here, he measured the level and the release of the carbon dioxide in the expired breath of this subject, thanks to this C13 labeling. So the results are summarized here in the right side of the slide. You can see that in the absence of the L-Carnitine, in the green trace, you still have release of carbon dioxide, C13 carbon dioxide, in the breath of this subject, but the supplementation of the L-Carnitine allowed a significant increase in the release of the carbon dioxide, C13 carbon dioxide, reflecting an increase in the fatty acid oxidation. So L-Carnitine supplementation allowed to increase the rate of the fatty oxidation in these subjects. This study was confirmed a couple of years later by Woodstock, who obtained similar results. So as a summary and what the Carnipure can provide, the Carnipure has different kinds of certification. It is a kosher, halal, allergen-free, non-GMO, FSSC 22004 certification. It has a US self-affirmed GRAS and also enjoys an EFSA opinion, a positive EFSA opinion around its safety. It is chemically made as an L isomer. So our product contains only L-Carnitine. It doesn't contain D-Carnitine that can come in addition to the L-Carnitine from fermentation or other processes. Why is it important? Well, because only the L-Carnitine is biologically active. The D-Carnitine is not. And as a matter of fact, some studies showed actually that the D-Carnitine can inhibit the effect of the L-Carnitine. So it is very important that the product, the ingredient, contains only L-Carnitine. It has an excellent safety profile. As I said, it has a self-affirmed graph, positive EFSA opinion around its safety. Also, our first kilogram of Carnipure has been sold some 33 years ago to the infant nutrition. So that's again testify for its high safety and quality. Lonza has been producing Carnipure for the last 33 years. In 2015, we just celebrated the 30 years anniversary of Carnipure, and it has a wealth of science and clinical trials proving its benefit and also supporting the claims, especially when it comes to recovery after exercise. There is more than 45 clinical research published on the brand, Carnipure brand, and more on the L-Carnitine in general. It has a global quality standards, and the Carnipure logo indicates the high quality, efficacious, trusted brand by consumers, and the consumers are always looking for these brands in their dietary supplements. That's all.